Hi, I'm Dan, and I just went on a date with the devil. Today we're discussing Atomic Blonde in a spoiler-free review. Now, this is an interesting review for us because we saw this movie a month ahead of time.
Haha, suckers!
Being in Boston pays sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, so we saw an early screening, and we're going to talk to you about it in a spoiler-free fashion and recommend that you go check this movie out.
Yeah, so I want to start right there as well, is that I walked out of there loving it. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to recommend this to anyone who's into an action-packed...
fun time.
Well, it's not just that you have to like action, it's like you kind of have to be someone who wants to pay attention to a movie, you know.
It's a smart action movie.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And
it's an art maker's action movie.
Yeah, the cinematography is great. The editing, I mean, you're the editor here.
Yeah. No, I think that the way they constructed this film elevated it beyond what you consider an action movie. That there was, and I'm not to say that this isn't always true, but in a way that was very, very clear to me, the creating an action sequence is an art. And I think that's always true, but I think the way that they did it here really, really showed it to you.
Yeah. And so, I guess a good way that it's been marketed, or a good way of describing it, is so many people have been saying, oh, it's like a female John Wick.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, neither of us have seen John Wick or John Wick 2. I want to. But I think that almost
undersells it.
Yeah, because from what I know of John Wick, is it's like, it is an artsy action movie that is known for its sequences and its fighting and everything. And its cinematography. But I feel like this one really did have a good story to it as well.
And a good character.
And great, very good characters. Just to say, like, the premise is that it's a espionage... Thriller action thing. So, action thing. The movie.
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot of death, that's why the devil likes it.
Haha. And a lot of lies. So you kind of go into it knowing, like, well, if they're spies, they're not just deceiving each other, you're gonna get deceived as the audience. Yeah. So,
Twists and turns,
yeah.
Yes.
So, like, you kind of have to pay attention. Like, I need to see this again.
Yeah. No, I think it was really enjoyable. It was a great thriller.
Yeah.
I think Charlize Theron did a great job as the titular and Atomic Blonde.
Yes. Is that how you pronounce her name?
What did I say?
Charlize Theron.
I don't know. That's how I pronounce it.
I always called her Charlize Theron.
I don't think it's Theron.
Oops.
I might be wrong.
The point is, she and James McAvoy. I was trying to mispronounce his name to, like, make up for it.
McAvoy.
Yeah. Well, the cast is phenomenal. And I think they do really well in their, respective roles.
Really different role for McAvoy as far as what I've seen him in. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah. You have a friend who really likes filth.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe there might be, from what I've seen of the trailers.
To me, it's different.
Heck, for all that you might think of me, I haven't seen filth. I'm not into filth. So let's talk about her character, Lorraine. Yeah. As you said, the titular Atomic Blonde. Yeah. And it takes place at the end of the Cold War. Yeah. Also not a spoiler. This is just premise here. Atomic. Haha. Yeah. What did you think of the marketing / the expectation for
her?
For Lorraine, for this?
Well, I want to say, I mean, I don't know if this is exactly answering your question, but I will say that the basic premise here is a very tried and true premise of, someone has a list of all the agents and we have to get it, and there might be a traitor, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It just, when done well, and it's just something like we also, I mean, not you, but we also reviewed Baby Driver, which is another movie where I'm like, very, like, been there, done that premise, but when you get the right director behind it and the right cast behind it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you reviewed that one with my second cousin, thrice removed, also the devil.
Yeah, so I think there's a similar thing here where it's like, she's a badass agent, she's sexy, she's glib, she's a badass.
I said that, but she is a badass.
I think there was more to her than just that. Charlize Theron, or whatever her name might be, brought it to another level.
Yeah.
There's so much intelligence in the character, which I think is one of the main things that wasn't clear from the trailers.
Yeah. So this is, I'm assuming, because again, we're recording this a month before the release, because we just saw it, but I remember when... I think you first showed me the trailer for it.
Yeah, I think so.
But the trailer came out a couple months ago, too, and I remember being like, wow, this is so cool. She's sexy. She's strong. She's badass. That I'm going to throw... We're both going to throw that word around.
All the asses are bad in this movie.
Hell yeah. But then at the same time, I'm like, but is she also... How much of a piece of ass is she going to be treated? Or, how important is that to her character?
Yeah.
And I think the marketing, sex sells.
Yeah.
And
there's no quotes needed for that. Sex does sell.
Well, actually, there was a study that said sex does not sell.
I don't believe that for
Whatever.
a second.
Point. That's a different discussion.
There's a study in my mind that says otherwise.
I don't want to know what you're studying or with who or whatever. But we're on a date, sir. That's how they sold. I feel like they're selling this movie.
Yeah.
And...
Sex and violence.
Sex and violence. Yeah. And while there is a good bit of both of those things, I was really happy with how it felt important.
Yeah.
Or how it wasn't just like... She wasn't an object.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't objectified.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like, even though it was a character, and arguably it was like a director's choice, it was... it felt like the character's choice to be this way. It felt like it served a purpose for sexiness, for sultriness.
Something that I'm sure everybody's seen in the trailer is the whole thing of her coming out of the ice bath.
Was that in the trailers?
Yeah, I've seen that in the trailers.
It was the opening. So.
It was her first scene, so I don't think it's a spoiler. And that's a scene, she's mostly nude for that entire scene.
You see some nipple, guys.
But it's mostly butt and body. But the thing is, it was an interesting thing to look at it as far as, yes, it did feel like potentially gratuitous, but it was also kind of matter of fact, and it was about showing her body in a different way.
Yeah.
It was about showing her body the way you'd show a man's body in a lot of ways.
Honestly, it's like, and I don't want to go into the visuals because it's something you should experience and see.
They're amazing, though.
But that scene it serves a purpose. Seeing her so vulnerable and exposed didn't feel like pure objectification. Like,
I didn't think of her as vulnerable at all in that sequence.
Well, I think it was this thing of like, she's not it's showing her resistance almost to vulnerability. Because being naked is inherently associated with vulnerability and exposure, but she does not come off that way. So I think that's kind of a dynamic.
It reminds me more of, if anybody's seen the show Arrow and the promotional material of that, how it was him, especially season 1, it was him shirtless with scars all over his body.
Right.
And it was about, this is, a sexy body, and that was also sex selling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But... it's a battle-worn body. It's not... He's not an object. He is an impressive feat. I think that was certainly true for her as well. Now, I think this movie skirted the line between... Did it go too far at some moments?
I will say that it just because I don't feel like she wasn't objectified, that doesn't mean that...
There weren't other characters.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Gratuitously at times.
Yeah. But it's all... I mean, this whole thing, the whole sex selling thing is a really hard thing to talk about, especially for me as a guy, because I don't feel like I know what to say. But I think people having issues, especially with the scene that I know you're thinking about, I completely understand, and I do think that was a step too far. People having issues with Charlize Theron's nudity and just general sex appeal and sexy scenes and stuff like that, I can understand, but also I'm like, I mean, but that's kind of part of the aesthetic, and and it's like, and I don't. Yes, there's something sort of low and base about the fact that like this movie is partially great because of the way that they're able to show violence and the way they're able to show sex. That's kind of like a base low idea, but also the way they do it is so well, and also those are human things to want to see. And I don't think that's necessarily a problem because it's also in a package of a really interesting story with a really cool character. So.
I'm not saying that I wish this movie was devoid of that. But I think that's an interesting debate to have, and it's one of constant, give and take and progression, and are we really making forward progress with it in cinema? But for this movie, for what it is, even having the title be, Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, great title in my opinion.
Great title. I love the font and the logo and everything about it.
And in general, this movie's very stylized. I think they did a great job. Oh, man. Great soundtrack.
The opening sequence was so good with the coloring and because it's a period piece at the end of the day too. The way they speaking of period piece, the soundtrack. Holy shit, that was. So good.
So good. Yeah. And it's interesting because it seems like this is like the summer of amazing opening sequences because Baby Driver's amazing, Atomic Blonde's amazing, and I'm hearing Spider-Man's opening sequence is phenomenal.
Oh, good.
So I'm very excited.
Right. So just getting back to my point is blonde is at times even used to show like it has been historically of it's someone who's just pretty, airheaded. It's almost like an insult. It can be used in insulting ways. And
something vapid.
And by putting that in the title of like this might be a defining characteristic of someone, but she becomes more than that. I don't know. I think this is based off a graphic novel.
Yeah, like a very culty, small, I think foreign graphic novel.
I would believe that. Yeah. But I don't know if the title is Atomic Blonde.
No, it isn't actually.
So there you go. I kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, it inspired the idea of like a bombshell, and I was like, they could have just called it Bombshell. But
they didn't though.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think that there's something about that. It's like inspiring that idea, but also giving it some more strength, which I think is the whole point of this. It's like, it's a female spy movie, but it's a really well done one. I mean, because when I saw stuff from it, I was like, it kind of reminds me of like Salt. Do you ever see Salt?
I seen part of it on cable, and I'm not impressed.
So much better than that. And the other thing is, I think that I was also worried a little bit about how they were going to show her vulnerability. And by the end of the movie, I was not worried about it at all.
No.
I think that they gave her vulnerability and complexity without falling into tropes.
No, I can't say it was tropic. There were a few things where I felt like I knew what would happen or what was about to happen. I don't care a lot of the time about spoilers or if something is predictable. If it's done well, if it earns...
The execution was no pun intended, the execution was fantastic.
There's a lot of execution. Going back to those sequences, like fight scenes, chase scenes and all of that, like the music that plays a part in that and the music that plays a role in showing the vulnerable sides of the characters or the fear or... the business, like, man, it just sets such a great tone. You buy it. It's immersive.
Yeah, and
really is.
I do also want to throw in that I think my favorite part of the action is the moments of having to catch your breath on both sides, both her and her opponents. They're amazing fighters, but they make it, even though it's ludicrous and over the top, they make it feel grounded.
Yeah, at times. Just enough. Yeah. Just enough where...
They skirt that line in a beautiful way where you're still getting your fuck yeah moments, but you're also feeling like you're in it.
Yeah. I think we saw it with a really great audience, too. And I think maybe a lot of the audience hadn't seen a lot of trailers for it.
Yeah.
Not that... Because, I'm worried about for the next month how the trailers will be modified and what they're going to show from the movie.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope that people are going to stand back a little bit from that and just trust in this being a great film and maybe going into it with knowing as little as possible visually.
Yeah.
Like, I think being surprised by the visuals is something that is really rewarding to this movie.
Definitely. All right, I'm ready to grade it. Are you?
I am too.
Okay, what are you grading this one?
I'm giving it 5.
5
skulls.
flaming skulls?
What?
Wow. Man, I think I'm going with 4.5.
Yeah, that's fair. I was bordering there.
Yes.
But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
The devil loves sometimes.
Yeah. All right, I'm putting your score up. 5 flaming skulls.
5, folks.
Thanks, guys, so much for watching. Please check out Atomic Blonde. You should. It's a great movie.
But more importantly,
check out more of our show. Subscribe to Doing Okay. Check out our other Dates with the Devil. And check out the comments below and let us know what you think. And we'll see you next time. Love.
I'm going to take this off.